Hello, thanks for checking in. Do another review and play here. This is Gamma Knights from the Gamma World universe from TSR in 1992. And as always, subscriptions are appreciated as I'm building up my library of review and plays here. It's not a super big box. It's about 9 by 11 and a quarter by about an inch and a half. The artwork looks good. Got a lot of neat details here. Looks like a guy in mech armor that's destroyed some kind of mutant of some sort. Very kind of dark and foreboding. And the game has an accessory that can be used to support the Gamma World science fiction RPG game. Or it can be used as a standalone board game. That's what I'll be looking at here. Face the dangers of Gamma Terra in the most potent weapon system of the ancients, powered battle armor. Battle mutant monsters, rampaging robots, and the ultimate challenge of other Gamma Knights. Don't need any previous experience with Gamma World. Credits designed by Steve Winter and Slade Henson, edited by Steve Winter. Booklet and playing piece illustrations by Mark Nelson. Box cover painting, which is very nice, by Fred Fields. Cartography by Steve Beck and John Konek. Preface here and some background. By the 23rd century, infantry is useless. The introduction of man-portable force fields in the 24th century changed that. Once again, the individual soldier in his powered armor, equipped with automated weapons, was the queen of the battlefield. But all that is history, because in the 24th century, the people who built weapons blew up the world. Now it is the 26th century. A strange new order has arisen from the ashes of the old. Scavengers and mutants pick through the ruins in their daily fight for survival. And the ultimate powers are the Gamma Knights, beings lucky enough to possess a working unit of the ancients' power armor. For the components, first of all, there's the 16-page battle book rules book, and within it there's some good scenarios. Scenario 1, Knights Down. Scenario 2, Knights on the Road. Scenario 3, Robot Rampage. Scenario 4, Slave Gun. 5, Showdown of Empires. Scenario 6, Road to Ruin. I'll be doing Scenario 1, which pits one Gamma Knight against a mix of individual counter units. Then there's the 32-page Knights of Tergama book, which is more detailed rules and some more background. Talks about armor design, weapons, armor, how to do a robotic enemy, and various tables, ranged weapons, base damage, range of fire, TH, AC bonus, slots needed, and special. Then missile and grenade ammunition, close combat weapons, battle game tables, unit type, various specs, close combat weapons, weapon strength, range hexes, missile and grenade ammunition, ranged weapons, the weapon strength, the range, and slots needed. And this is the Gamma Knights record sheet, and you can copy this off and then use it for your Gamma Knights. There's 4 10-sided dice. In the rules they say there's 24 of these cut-out stand-up pieces that for representing the Gamma Knights, and there's some tanks here too. I think I count 26 if you count these, but these are tanks, so maybe they're not counting those. And it says there's 24 of these plastic stand-up bases. I only have 12, but I'm not sure which is accurate, what they say or what you get. Art is very well done. Not miniatures, but it'll be functional. There's 208 of these die-cut cardboard counters. They're 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch, two-sided. Here's some of the unique markers. First of all, the system markers. So before starting play, place all the system markers in a cup. Then each player controlling a Gamma Knight or robot. The option of drawing up to 4 system markers. Drawing the markers, you look at them and then you put them face down on your sheet, and the back is blank. And they're revealed the first time something happens which affects that system. They cause some differential effects to the different elements. For instance, there's weak armor. First time player armor's hit, take an extra hit. For all these, you discard them after you use them. Strengthened armor, or heavy armor as they call it in the rules, lets the player ignore the first hit on his armor. No armor check is made. Then reinforced weapon, reinforced system, or reinforced force field. Player can ignore the first hit against weapon, against system or force field, or fragile weapon, fragile system, or weak force field. The first hit against weapon, system, force field is increased by 1. And then flight, there's NOE flight, which is flying close to the ground. Results in the flying unit signature is reduced by 2 during the flight, which is shown here. And on the flip side, for high altitude, signature is also reduced by 2, and this is just for indicating the flight. These counters are for marking sensor lock-ons, and the flip side here is under fire indicators, and it costs 2 action points to fire the unit. You place these on units that are being fired upon, and it costs the attacker 2 action points to do an attack. Some more unique counters. These green ones are indicators. Some have a value of 0 on one side, 1 on the other. Some have 1 on one side, 3 on the other. And these are damage markers. One side, the yellow side, is light damage. On the back side is red, which is heavy damage. They're fairly self-explanatory. There's helmet hit, left arm hit, left leg hit, torso hit, right arm hit, right leg hit, weapon hit, close combat weapon hit, ranged weapon hit, servos hit -1 AP, primary sensors hit, repair servos hit -2, secondary sensors hit, masking system hit, launcher hit, medkit hit. And the heavy damage markers, they're shown here. Helmet hit ×2, left arm ×2, left leg ×2, torso hit ×2, right arm ×2, right leg ×2, weapon ×2, close combat ×2, range ×2, sensors hit -3 and -4, sensors hit, sensors scrambled, repair servos hit ×2, masking system scrambled, stunned, flight capability destroyed, warhead jettison, and launch hit ×2. Non-Gamma Knight units are represented by counters. Information's all on here, you don't need a sheet for them. And there's attack strength, range, the signature/armor, and the action points. And when they take an L hit, they flip over to the disrupted side. And then on the disrupted side, you have the recovery value, where it can try to recover in the recovery phase by rolling 1 die. If the number of rolls is equal or higher than the number, it's flipped over to its main side again. So you have the recovery value, the signature/armor, and then the action points. And for the units, you have some green and brown to differentiate, for the different scenarios. You have heavy tanks, light tanks, heavy infantry, light infantry of humans or monsters, gunpowder infantry, gunpowder artillery, cavalry, Steel Age infantry, and Stone Age infantry, and then these are some turrets. For the players in the scenarios that are Gamma Knights, use a record sheet and just copy it off the back of the book there. You have your system information here with action points, armor value, force field signature, armor signature, total signature, primary sensor value, total sensor strength, simultaneous lock-ons, medkit value, repair servo value, special damage markers here, weapon information here of the weapon range and strength, force field tracker here, and then suit damage, where you'd indicate damage in the different areas of your suit. And as a reference card, it's 11 by 17. Here's the units, attack table, we have the saturation attack results, target signature, pinpoint attack results, how you calculate attack strength, how you calculate target signature, then the sensor attack table, the attacker's sensor strength, defender signature, terrain effects table, it's the action points to enter for brush, dense forest, ruins, it's 2, and then the signature. Golly, it's +1, then also the terrain you're entering without. Turn sequence. So turn sequence goes first player turn, initial fire phase, movement phase, eternal fire phase, recovery phase. Second player turn, initial fire phase, movement phase, terminal fire phase, recovery phase, and then 3 turn advance phase. Here's the map. It's well done, and it's a thickish paper. It's two-sided. One side is a city map, which is it's a little bit strange that the scale is so different from the character to the map. So the scale here is 1 hex equals 25 meters, and a gamma knight would fit there. And this would be used for various scenarios, and the scenarios would indicate what the different A, B, and C, etc. are. Here's the outdoor map. Again, the scale is a little bit odd. It's 1 hex equals 25 meters, and gamma knight is quite different than that scale, but have light forest, dense forest, hilltop, brush, gully, slope, buildings, road. So that's the components. Then we'll get to set up and play. Kind of set up and play here. I'll be doing scenario 1, Night's Dawn. In 2532, a group of Iron Society raiders chased a young human adventurer named Isaiah Ames into the ruins of the moon. He evaded his pursuers by hiding in the sub-basement of a crumbling building, and there discovered a buried cache of ancient weapons. When he emerged in the morning, the Iron Society was still there looking for him, to their sorrow. Be using the city map. First player, the Gamma Knight, Isaiah Ames, will be in battle armor equipped with a medkit, 2 slug throwers, flamethrower, UV laser pistol, Mark V blaster, and a vibro blade. The second player is Iron Society raiding party, consisting of 1 heavy infantry, 4 light infantry, 2 gunpowder infantry, 2 cavalry, and 5 Steel Age infantry. One of the infantry units has a micro missile launcher with 3 photon micro missiles. I'll indicate that by putting this indicator here. Like that to indicate he's got a micro launcher with 3 photon micro missiles. Second player sets up first. His units can be anywhere on the map within 3 hexes of buildings B, C, and D, but not inside any of those 3 buildings. So there's buildings B, C, and D. These guys are within 3 of B. These are within 3 of C. So we'll put these guys also within 3 of D. And then the first player, who's the Gamma Knight, places Isaiah anywhere inside buildings B, C, or D. So here's B, C, and D. You'll go ahead and put it here in building D. Game length and victory. The game lasts 20 turns. Isaiah wins by wiping out the Iron Society raiders or surviving until turn 20. The raiders win by killing Isaiah within those 20 turns. And setting up the record sheet for the Gamma Knight. He's got battle armor, and the stats for battle armor is shown here. Force field is 12, so he'll indicate he has 12 force fields here. I'll just scratch off the extra ones. Force field signature of 2, armor value of 7, armor signature of 4, action points of 4, giving a force field and armor signature, give it a total signature of 6. Primary sensor value is 4, and then the secondary is 2, for a total sensor strength of 6. Yeah, the 2 for the total sensor strength. Simultaneous lock-ons is 4. Medkit value 7. Repair servo value of 7. And then he's got 2 slug throwers. And you look at the weapons tables here. And this isn't the detailed reference that comes with it. The slug thrower, it's got the close range is 1, mid range is 3, and far range is 6. And they have a strength of 3. Flamethrower, range of 1, 6, and 12, and strength of 4. UV laser pistol, 1, 6, and 12, with strength of 5. Mark V blaster, 1, 5, and 10, strength of 8. Vibro blade, it's just for close combat, so range of 0, strength of 10, and then he has a medikit. Then we'll get into the first turn. Before we get into a turn here, each Gamma Knight has the option of drawing up to 4 system markers, and these gives slight modifications to your system. And you don't have to draw 4, but I will. You put them face down, flip them over. Reinforced system, that's good. Fragile weapon, that's not a good thing. Weak armor, not good. Reinforced force field, so a couple good, couple bad. And then when you have an effect that goes that, like a hit for instance, goes to the system, you look it over. Put them face down. Put them face down normally, but since I'm just not doing against another person, I'll just show them up so it's just easier. Reinforced system and reinforced force field. The player can ignore the first hit against a weapon, against system, or against its force field. Weak armor and fragile weapon. Weak armor, first time the player's armor is hit, takes an extra hit. Fragile weapon, the first hit against a weapon is increased by 1 hit. Sequences, first player turn, initial fire phase, movement phase, terminal fire phase, recovery phase, and then second player, initial fire phase, movement phase, terminal fire phase, recovery phase, and then the turn advance phase. So during the initial fire and movement phase, the player units fire and move by spending action points. And the action points are to fire a weapon, it's 2 action points, make a sensor attack 1 action point, enter a hex containing open ground or light woods, or by flying is 1 action point, enter a hex containing brush, dense wood, buildings, or ruins, 2 action points. The first player is the Gamma Knight. He has 4 action points to use in a turn. He's currently in this building. So in the initial fire phase, he can fire or make sensor attacks. And he can fire or use the sensors multiple times as long as he's got enough action points. Any unit that does firing during this phase is in the attack mode, but otherwise it's in movement mode for the rest of the turn. And then movement phase, if he's already in attack mode, then he can only move 1 hex for free but no further. But if he's in movement mode, he can move up to his action point allowance. Then terminal fire phase, if the player's in movement mode, they can attack once with weapons or sensors for free during the phase, but not more than once. And then recovery phase, the first player repairs damaged systems, recovers disrupted and stunned units, regenerates force fields, removes any temporary weapon effects. Then that sequence goes for the second player after that. He's inside the building and the opposing units are outside, so he doesn't have line of sight. And you need line of sight to do an attack, and line of sight is blocked if crosses a building hex or a dense force hex, and he's in a building, so it's blocked. It's blocked if it crosses more than 3 light force hexes. It's blocked if the target is in a gully and the attacker is not on a hilltop or slope, or an hex adjacent target. Line of sight is blocked if it crosses a hilltop or slope, but neither the attacker nor the target are on slope or hilltop hexes. Or it's blocked if the attacker is on a hilltop and the defender is not, and line of sight crosses more than 1 hilltop hex. So since he's in a building and the others aren't, it's blocked. And he could either stay in the building and kind of hide and kind of let them come to him, or he could go out. I think it kind of makes sense to stay in the building and see if some come in after him. Stay in movement mode. In building, it's 2 AP to enter. He'll just kind of move back in the building here a little bit. I'm assuming this is the doorway to enter the building. He'll just back up here a little bit in the building, so he has a line of sight to whatever happens to enter here. And then he can't do any terminal fire because he doesn't have any line of sight, and there's nothing to recover. And then we go to player 2. Initial fire phase. Nobody's in line of sight, so they can't do initial fire. But the cavalry will go. It's got 3 action points. We go to movement phase, and he's in movement mode. It's 1 to enter on a plane, and then 2 for a building, so it'd be a total of 3 to go there. So 1, 2, 3, and now he's building entrance is there, so he's in the building. Others will move. He'll move 2, 2. It's one across a rotor bridge as well. Then I'll move the rest of these to their movement allowance as well. So they've all moved their movement allowance, and then we're able to fire. But now that the cavalry is in is in the building and within line of sight of the Gamma Knight, he'll do a terminal fire phase. He can fire in the terminal fire phase. He gets one fire, gets one attack. He can either do saturation fire, which means you fire without the sensors being locked. Pinpoint fire is when you fire and your sensors are locked. Close combat is if he's in the same hex, which he's not. Then sensor attacks are just to gain sensor lock, and it doesn't do any damage by itself. It just allows you to do pinpoint fire. And since he can only do one attack, he can't do a sensor attack and then a pinpoint fire if he's successful. So he's just going to do a saturation fire, and it's 2 hexes away. Let's do the combat then. You look at what phase you're in, and he's in the terminal fire phase. In the initial fire phase, you roll 2 dice. In the terminal fire phase, you only roll 1. And you look at the type. It's either saturation attack or pinpoint or sensor, but he's doing saturation since he doesn't have a sensor lock. And looks at the target signature. Target is the Gamma Knight, and his force field signature is 2, plus the armor signature is 4, so it's got a total of 6 there. Train signature, he's in a building, which is a signature of 4, so he's up to 10, plus 2 lines if line of sight passes through smoke, no, plus 4 if line of sight passes through EMP, no, minus 2 if target is flying, no, 10. So we go with that column, 10 plus. And then we look at the attack strength of the unit, which is the cavalry. Its weapon strength is 6. Primary sensor strength plus secondary sensor strength, which is 0. Plus 5 if target's at close combat range. No, he's in medium range because his range is 5. And close is on top and short is 1. He's not long range either because that would be 10 is long range. Minus 2 if the attacker is under fire. So if he's under fire, you'd put a under fire marker there, and this is the under fire marker. Got a value of 6. So you can get 1 to 10 on the die. It's a 10 plus, so he's not gonna do any damage. He can't possibly get that. And he needs a 19. No effect. Nobody else can fire. Do the recovery phase. Nothing's damaged, so there's nothing to recover. Then we'll move back to player 1's turn. So we could either attack where he gets 2 die rolls, or move and attack where he only gets 1. But he has a vibro blade, which has a strength of 10, so he's open to doing a close combat attack. Got 4 action points, and it costs 2 to move within a building. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. He's in close combat. He's in the same hex as this item. Still in the building. He's in movement mode since he hasn't attacked yet. And we'll look what he has. He's got, one attack, he'll be doing a close combat attack. Once you're in close combat, regardless of how many action points it took you to move in, there you have your full action points for both the attacker and defender. And you go a series of rounds until they run out of action points, or one is destroyed. And the defender goes first. Doesn't seem to say in the rules, but I'm assuming since they all have their full AP, they also get 2 die rolls. And if you roll doubles, you get a 3rd die to result. If you roll doubles, you get a 3rd die to roll also. So the defender goes first. His attack strength. Weapon is 6. Plus 2 dice. Plus 5 because it's close combat. Total of 11. Then roll 2 dice. And the signature of the Gamma Knight is force field plus armor signature, which is 2 plus 4, 6. Train signature. In a building it's 4, so it's 10. So he's got 6 plus 4, 10. Go the column of 10 plus, and it's saturation. Roll 2 dice. 14 plus the 6 plus the 5 is 25. 25, L1, light damage marker. Then you draw a light damage marker, Shameless product placement here for my Tabletop Sci Fi mug, which you can get through my online store. I'm going to draw one of these. Ranged weapon hit. The yellow side are the light damage markers. The red are the heavy. And then we look at the modifiers we have here from the system markers. None of these are related to the ranged weapons, so no effects of these. But since the unit has an operating force field, the force field absorbs that damage instead of the light hit being applied. So we'll mark it off. So now it's down to 11 force field. And the amount of damage on the force field is indicated by the number here. So 1 hit on the force field. Once it gets down to 0, then you start having hits go through to cause that light damage on the systems. When the defender did attack, it costs 2 action points. He only has 3, so he won't be able to do another round of combat. But now the Gamma Knight can go, and he has 4 action points, so he can use 2 of those for combat. He'll do close combat. His attack strength. He'll be using, for close combat, his Vibro Blade, which has a strength of 10. So his strength is 10, plus his primary sensor and secondary sensor is a total of 6. So he's up to 16. Close combat, so it's plus 5. So he's 21. Check out the target signature. So this is the armor and signature, and it's 0. So he doesn't have much protection there. So he's pretty vulnerable. Column 0. Column 0, he's already at 21 just with his bonuses. Rolls twice. 14, 35. So the result is HLT 4, which means there'd be 4 hits to the force field. He doesn't have a force field though. And then also targeting solution, which means that he was able to lock on the component, and then he was able to also do heavy damage and light damage. And on counters, when it does a light damage, it disrupts it, which means you flip it over. But it also has an H, and an H just destroys the unit, so it's removed. That's the end of that combat. And then he's got a Medikit, which can do repairs, and Repair Servo, which can do repairs as well. There's a lot more detail in this Knights of Gammatera book. I do find there's some contradicting information there, and I wonder if it's contradicting because maybe this is geared more towards using in the RPG, and maybe the tables I used were more for the board game, but they don't seem to be consistent. For instance, like the damage, it talks a lot about slots, and it's not really talked about in using the board game. And also is like power usage and how much damage weapons do. Sometimes it refers to using a D6 or D8, which aren't included with the game. So anyway, some conflicting information there, but hopefully that gives you a sense of how to play it as a standalone board game. So it's Gamma Knights from TSR in 1992, and it's in the Gamma World RPG universe, but it's also a standalone board game. Didn't quite know what to expect going into it. Pretty standard and simplistic as far as combat, movement. Nothing super exciting. A little bit strange that the scale is so weird that a unit like covers 25 meters. And these other counters they're basically groupings of that type of unit that are within an area, so that's fine. It's got some scenarios. I imagine it's nice to have it with the Gamma World when you get in a combat situation. You have different options of flying, different types of missile attacks, etc. The components are fine. I'm glad I tried it out. I don't know if I'll do it again because I have other interesting kind of counter games or games with miniatures I might do instead. It doesn't have a lot of, I guess probably when you go with the details of the more detailed features of the battle suits in that book, you might find it more interesting. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Thanks a lot.